is offering up to $2,100 in rebates. Take advantage of it. Go to Agers HVAC. You'll be glad you did. Go to callagers.com.
Hi, Mike Shannon here for Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois. You know, for years now, I've been talking about the area's greatest spot. It's not only a local legend, but everywhere I travel, people ask me about it. They ask me, what makes it the best bar in the country? Or why is it such a phenomenon? Well, I don't really know. But it could be because of the great food, or maybe the best live entertainment anywhere, or the coldest beer in town, or maybe it's just the tremendous atmosphere. I tell them it's really hard to explain, but you've got to see it to believe it. So if you have folks coming from out of town, or if you're one of the few that haven't been there yet, you've got to check it out. You've got to do it yourself. Or if you're one of the lucky millions that have experienced the legend before, it's time to get over to Alton and hit it again. It's just 25 minutes from St. Louis over the Clark Bridge. So if you're 21 and in the mood, it's the legendary Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois. We'll see you there.
Whether it's a job interview or a first date, Lady Jane's in Sunset Hills will make sure you look great for whatever's on your plate. Get a precision haircut, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment for just $14. Lady Jane's in Sunset Hills on Lindbergh Boulevard, just south of Watson Road, next to St. Louis Bread Co. It's wicked awesome.
This hour of Marc Cox is sponsored by CBD Works. Order your quality CBD products now and get 20% off with code 971. That's CBDWorks.com. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that we don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
We played the game hard, we played the game right. They started some we finished the Yeah, let's go. And that's how we roll. We don't start, but no one us ever. Ever. All right? Now, I don't give a who we play. We're going to him up. We're going to take it right to him the whole way. We're going to kick their ass. Yeah.
Let's go! I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think we're going to kick the shilt out of the Nationals. What do you think?
Let's do it.
I
hope so.
The dude is fired up. That's the Cardinals coach last night. We had to bleep it so much to keep your ears from being bloodied this morning. But a little locker room talk afterwards to the players. And one of the rookie outfielders, made the mistake of Instagramming it when it was happening. And then he since deleted it, but of course nothing ever goes away on the internet.
Nope.
So now it's kind of gone
enjoy
viral.
That for years to come.
ESPN has picked it up. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution picked it up. So I'm waiting for
New York
them
Times
to
picked it up.
spur some controversy over this. I don't think there is anything, but you know.
Why do we hold our baseball players to a higher level is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
No one batted an eye when Berube going off in the locker room with the Blues wins, but all of a sudden, baseball players don't speak that way, apparently.
So here's the funny thing about this. I Googled it this morning. St. Louis Cardinals, Mike Shildt. I just Googled that to see what would come up. And the first 6 stories are about his tirade after the game. You know,
I think most people are interested in what the story is behind it, like what was going down, that there was some, bad blood going on between
the drama
the teams.
Here?
The fifth return was an opinion by KSDK 2 days ago that said why Mike Shildt needs some Craig Berube boldness.
We got it.
We got it.
And you shall receive.
He brought it to the locker room last night, and hopefully the momentum, I hope we didn't burn up too many runs last night. Hopefully the momentum carries through to this game with the Nationals.
It will. We've got this. Yeah, no, to your point, though, both of you, it's funny the mixed responses it's getting from our people because of the level of standard cards are held to, that there are people that are like, this is very disappointing. It's like, yeah.
Do you really think this is the first time those words have been uttered in a locker room with Cardinals players? I mean,
these things happen. It's kind of nice to lift the curtain and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
Good people use bad language.
If you're a snowflake, you shouldn't go in a locker room, right? Because Motivational speeches often include F-bombs that might hurt your feelings. I'm sorry, they do.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to get away from that. So you don't have a right to not be offended. But I am waiting, and I've got a box of donuts riding on it. For those of you not listening this morning,
we'll see what happens.
I've got a box of donuts riding on it that somebody at some point today is going to ask Mike Schilt to apologize if he offended anybody. I don't know if it's going to be the Cardinals or if it's going to be the Braves. Somebody's going to demand an apology because that's the environment we live in these days. Somebody was offended. They got their feelings hurt. Now you got to come out and apologize.
But I thought that the donuts were if he is forced to and follows through with an apology.
That's one thing.
Do you think he's just going to do it on his own? They're going to. The Cardinals would come to him and say, "Listen, I'm glad you got him fired up, but you just need to say you're sorry for doing this." And then he's going to say, "I'm sorry if I."
I just don't think it's going to happen, Mark.
No,
I really don't.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't think he's going to be forced or follow through.
All right, hey, coming up, I've got Brian Kilmeade at about 8:10. We'll talk about his upcoming visit to St. Louis. That's going to happen next month. We'll have more details for you at about 10 minutes after 8. Brian is actually not on Fox and Friends this morning. He's out traveling for promoting his new book. Therefore, he had opportunity to call us in the middle of the time he'd normally be on the TV. So that's why we get him on this morning. Plus Tom Ackerman at about 8:48. We have a guest in studio this hour. You're going to know his name immediately. He is currently the campaign manager for Governor Mike Parson and his re-election bid. Still Shippey in the house this morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. It's awesome to be here.
Good to have you, my friend. Did you enjoy that Cardinal game last night?
It's fun to turn it on. And then 2 minutes afterwards, we're 4 runs up, 1 run up, 4 runs up. A lot of folks in the green seats are just ordering a beer, getting their hot dog or nachos, and the game's over.
It's kind of stunning.
It's a good feeling.
We should do it. Yeah, we should do it.
I'm sure, and I don't want to. In light of clean Missouri, I don't want to insinuate anything here, but I'm guessing there's a green seat down there, Bush somewhere, with the governor's name on the back of it, right? Like he gets a seat if his home state team is in the playoffs.
I don't know that the governor's actually been to a playoff game yet this year.
Oh, real? Well, there you go.
Yeah,
maybe coming up. I'm sure he'll get an invitation.
Hopefully, a World Series game is in his future.
That's not like some sort of problem. I mean, the mayor's going to be there. Everybody. They have, usually the governor of the one state in the World Series makes some sort of bet with the governor of the other state. I mean, it's going to happen.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
I'm sure you will.
When we get to the World Series off of Mike Schilt's motivational speech.
And I think as campaign manager, you should be seated right there with him in the green seat somewhere, don't you?
Yeah, we'll see.
I think as friend of the campaign manager, I should be seated next to you guys too.
Yeah. No, it's a fun time in St. Louis for sure.
So I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you grew up on the in the western part of the state, didn't you?
I did. You're walking a careful line here.
I know I am. I'm just asking. I'm not trying to get you in political trouble or anything, but you wouldn't have ever been a fan of the other team in the state.
I may have a jacket, a winter jacket.
That's okay. I'm just teasing.
It's fine.
I'm just teasing you.
Tread lightly, sir.
No. That's all right. I've told folks here before that Cardinal fans, because I grew up in near Cincinnati, Cardinal fans are spoiled by their years of success. I mean, it was quite a drought to go 4 years without being in the playoffs, and then you've got teams that, like the Cubs or occasionally the Kansas City that they win the World Series. And that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen for a lot of clubs all the time, like the Cardinals.
No, it was not that folks were watching on this side of the state, but when Royals won the World Series.
Of course we
are. Oh, yeah,
we're rooting for you, man.
Right, we had a good time. The town showed up. Proverbially, we're always, cast off as the farm team of the major leagues, but we'll take that.
Hey, we're all Chiefs fans these days.
Oh, my
say
goodness.
that?
Yeah, everybody's a Mahomes fan. So,
that's right.
Except for that last weekend.
That was
hopefully
rough.
that's just a
a
one-time deal.
Just a fluke. A fluke. Yeah, Steele's in town, and he's running the governor's re-election campaign, and you guys are just to use a baseball term, knocking it out of the park when it comes to fundraising these days. I mean, governor had a huge kickoff, and you just reported some new numbers that's quite a war chest.
Yeah, it all boils down to this. We're a campaign funded by Missourians, working for Missourians. It's one of those things that the Missourians believe that the state is on the right track, and the governor's the one leading the charge. And they believe in this governor. They believe that we're doing the right thing, and so it shows when folks chip in $3. They donate to get a bumper sticker, or they text Parson to 484848, right, to join our team. And they get on board and they get excited about the governor. And it doesn't matter where you are in the state, whether you're in St. Louis, Kansas City, Bolivar, Missouri, where we packed a high school auditorium for his announcement. 1,300 people showed up for the governor.
That's fantastic.
The largest announcement, I would say, in for a statewide candidate in recent history. They believe in this guy, and they believe that what he's doing is the right thing for Missouri, and we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep taking our message straight to the voters that limited government, hard work, are going to keep people a high paycheck. Wages are on the rise. Job creation. The governor's been successful in helping create 40,000 new jobs in the last year. That's insane. We're doing the right thing, and Missourians believe that, and they're chipping in, and we're going to have fun over the next 13 months taking this to election day. So it's a long haul, but hopefully I'll be back in a few times to talk about it.
Hard to believe that it snuck up on us again this quickly. You got to be careful with that texting thing, right? So you got to tell the governor when he's in the debate in a few months not to say go to my webpage and text Mike to 303030 or whatever Joe Biden said.
Yeah,
that can get confusing.
No, just to be clear though, it's Parson, Parson, 484848.
Okay, that's easier to remember. That's good.
Got it.
And what do you get if you text something to that? You text the word Parson and you just get a thank you, donate
you just
here.
get a thank you for joining up, and we get to, at some point down the line when the governor's in your area, or we've got an event coming up, or we want to say, hey, check out this latest ad that the governor's got out. We'll send it to you, and you can be a part of our team. We call ourselves, the governor is the 57th governor of the state of Missouri. He takes pride in that. He takes he's humbled by that, and so we call ourselves Team 57. Become a member of Team 57, and you're part of our crew. There's thousands of Missourians that are on board, that are working with us, and we want you all to be a part of Team 57.
Isn't there an outstate legislator who's declared that he's running as a Republican? Did I hear that somewhere? Did he drop out already?
Yeah, folks are going to say they might jump in, jump out, but at the end of the day, folks are going to know that the state is moving in the right direction because of Missouri Governor Mike Parson.
All right. Yeah. I was going to ask about that because the whole GM strike is continuing. I'm sure that, I talked to the governor about this the last time we had him in here. The GM incentive plan that made its way through the legislature last year. He and I disagreed on some parts of what that incentive plan would do in terms of funding college and some other things. But at the end of the day, you got to wonder I'm wondering what's holding that thing up. I mean, I was kind of hoping they'd go ahead once they had that package and move forward. Now I wonder if it wasn't. Now I worry, and I'm not asking you if you have any inside knowledge on this, but I wonder if maybe GM wasn't using that to leverage their union negotiations a little bit. And here we are in the middle of a strike. So hopefully at some point they move forward and generate some new jobs out there in Wentzville.
Absolutely. I think we're all hopeful. We're all, gonna kind of hold out and see exactly what the final product is there. But at the end of the day, the governor wants to see hardworking Missourians, getting back to work. And that's happening all across the state, whether you're in St. Charles or whether you're in the Boot Heel or northwest Missouri. Jobs, businesses are coming back to the state. Businesses are growing, and a lot of times we the news focuses on the big jobs, the big announcements that are coming back in the state, but they forget about the small Main Street businesses that are just announced. Maybe they're hiring 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, and those get overlooked. But those are huge for those small communities.
Well, it's what generates the economy. People overlook that. They think of the big employers all the time, but it's those mom and pop stores. You got to protect those at some point against just wiping out. I hated driving down the main street of some of these small towns and seeing all those little shops boarded up. You got to keep those in the mix too. And I'm sure the governor, because he comes from a pretty small town, right?
Yeah. I don't actually know off the top of my head how big Wheatland, Missouri is. I actually think he said he grew up in a town of 356.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't quote me on that. But I think it's somewhere around 350. So, he understands the challenges of rural Missouri, and he understands the challenges that exist in urban Missouri. He spent 22 years as a law enforcement officer. He spent 6 years in the Army. So, he has a diverse background of skills and experience, and, it ultimately boils down to hard work. The theme of our campaign is Governor Mike Parson works for Missouri, and people think, what is that? Well, we built it around the fact that the governor has, embedded